Good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to our weekly Sunrise Project call, where it's always a wonderful, safe space filled with love and compassion and our desire to heal ourselves and our families. And I'm grateful for each of you all for being here this morning. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I am so grateful this morning to have a dear, dear, dear friend and soror and mentor and fierce champion of the SonRise Project here back with us this morning on the last Sunday of 2025. We have Dr. Lynn Richardson. I'm grateful for her. She is, let me tell you a little bit about her for people who may be new this morning. Dr. Lynn is an ordained minister, a certified chaplain, author, entertainment executive, and celebrity financial coach who uses her quick wit and humor to help people face their money issues, make better decisions, as well as achieve personal, professional, and spiritual harmony. With almost 3 decades of leading roles in the financial services industries, Dr. Lynn's vision is best portrayed in her books, most notably Living Check to Monday, The Real Deal About Money, and Credit and Financial Security. Dr. Lynn is featured regularly on countless media outlets nationwide, and she's currently the chaplain and president CEO of MC Light's Hip Hop Sisters Foundation and MC Light's Sunny Girl, an entertainment and celebrity management firm. In 2016, she partnered with MC Light and others to launch the Wealth Experience, which is a 3-day retreat created for celebrities, entertainment, and corporate executives, as well as women from all walks of life. And that is an incredible experience I have attended. During the pandemic, she became a global household name to millions of people around the world who were seeking ways to manage their financial implications of the pandemic. In 2023, she partnered with Freddie Mac to teach mortgage professionals across the United States how to effectively close homes for borrowers from underserved communities with something called a seat at the closing table. She is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for over 30 years, and she is the leading financial expert for the International Financial Wellness Initiative and has done multiple initiatives, by the way. But she is currently leading an initiative called Open the House Today, which is sponsored by Progressive with Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. On top of all of what she does, she is a wife and a mother to 3 beautiful adult daughters, and she has graciously decided and agreed to bless us this morning as we talk about the fact that it's not too late, even though it's December 28th, it's not too late to close 2025 um, with ways and strategies to help us, as we plan for 2026. So, welcome back, Dr. Lynn. Thank you for being here with us this morning. Again, I'm so grateful to have you and hope you had a beautiful holiday.
Yes, yes, so happy to be here. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I say it's time for a remix in 2026
Yes.
for all of us to just not necessarily fix everything that's wrong, but to get to the level that we're trying to get to with the vision that God has given us, and we're going to do it together. So I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and when you were here in April, you've been here twice this year. So first in February, and then you were back in April, and you gave us some amazing, wonderful tips and tricks and things we could do right before the April tax season. We talked, and as we think about the rest of this year, so many of us have really been struggling. So many families, women, people have been struggling with inflation, with the cost of living increases, with unemployment. I'd love for you to talk about what you're seeing right now and with people, just what's happening, what the challenges are, and where we can do some little things to make a difference.
Well, yeah, since I've been here, I think so much has changed. I don't like to promote or announce negativity, but we all know what has happened with the government and what has happened with the recent administration, resulting in well over, I think it's now 500,000 African American women losing jobs. And we have to know that when there is a concerted and appointed focus to disenfranchise economically, socially, and financially any specific group of people, we know that that has a resounding impact. But what it does specifically for the Black and Brown communities is far much more devastating and harmful. African American women are the leading financial decision makers in our household. Whether we are single or married, we are the leading financial decision makers. When advertisers want to better understand what's cool and how to market and who to advertise to, in many cases, they study African American women. And according to What's Black About It, a book that is well known for marketing and advertising research, African American women are leading our decisions in our households more than 80% of the time, compared to less than 50% for Asian women, less than 40% for Hispanic women, and less than 30% for Asian women. So when that happens, we know that there's going to be a significant fallout. There's a fallout in terms of education. There's a fallout in terms of just basic needs being met. And there's a fallout all across the board. But the one thing that I want to say in response to that, because as we know, many of these jobs that have been lost, these are not easy jobs to just go out and get. In many cases, these are six-figure jobs, and even some in the corporate space are seven figures. These are not simple and easy jobs to replace. With the onset of AI and so many other technological advances, also in some of these cases, folks are not able to just quickly go and get an interview because the way resume screening is set up. People's resumes are, dated in terms of how they are organized when they need to be focused on skills as opposed to the jobs and the titles that they've had. So we're
Mm,
seeing just a significant fallout. But the
mm,
one thing that I want to say is this, because I keep seeing so many quote unquote experts talk about entrepreneurialism and saying that it's not for everyone. And the truth is, since the beginning of time, since the creation of humanity, before there were social media, before there were even telephones, forget mobile phones, before there were televisions, human beings knew how to use what they had to earn
mm.
money. Since
Right.
the beginning of time, human beings have had to have what? A home-based business, doing
Mm,
whatever it is that they knew how to do, whether it was farming, whether it was sowing, whether it was tilling sand, whatever it was, we knew how to take our own skills, our own survival, and to create businesses. So the first thing I really want to just dismantle, everybody needs a home-based business. Everybody needs a
everybody.
home-based business. Every
Mm,
single person. When I
mm,
said this in April, I remember getting some comments saying, well, this having a business isn't for everyone. Some people just want to get a job. But what happens when they start cutting jobs? What
right.
happens when they start excommunicating whole communities and
Yes.
colors and genders of people from access to jobs? But more importantly, what happens when the people who have the jobs, Amazon laying off tens of thousands of people? We just recently saw JP Morgan Chase shutting down a third of their branches. Many other banks are following. So what happens when jobs simply are not out and available? Then we
Right.
have to do what we've always done. When we don't have it, we create it. And when we don't understand it, we learn it. And
Mm,
anything that we learn, we master. So I
mm,
want to differentiate between entrepreneurs and business owners. Entrepreneurs are skilled at creating multiple different businesses in multiple different areas and gaining capital and so on and so forth. But a business owner is someone who owns their ability to earn income. So whether
mm,
that be consulting, whether that be taking your skills, whether that be the recipes that you know how to cook and putting them together in recipes, and there are so many different ways to market and to advertise without having marketing and advertising skills. There
mm.
are very basic courses in AI that can help you create graphics. I want everybody to understand the benefits of becoming business owners because why? Yes, then you get tax deduction. So I just kind of wanted to start there. I didn't mean mean to get too passionate or dramatic about it, but we really, really, really need to understand that the power is in our hands to create the futures that we want for ourselves and our families and our communities.
And the home-based business, you're talking about a single owner, home-based business, not a partnership, not any of that, but it could be Lynn Richardson LLC, correct? Do you want it to
Yes.
be an LLC or should it not be an LLC?
So you should start off, I would tell everybody to just start off with what you have. Start off, do the best you can where you are with what you have right now. That is my first piece of advice. Because
Mhm.
when we start creating additional criteria, sometimes that can block us and that can stop us. So everybody can start a business using his or her name. Your
That's right.
name and your social security number. That's all you need to report on Schedule 1 of the 1040. The Schedule
Mhm.
1 of your 1040 tax return is where you report any self-employed income. So if you are selling vitamins, if you start tutoring, if you start teaching, if you start consulting, if you help people clean and manage their homes, if you help people rewrite their resumes, if you, whatever it is that you are doing, you can start as a sole proprietor. And one of the things that also happens is crisis usually teaches us the best lessons. I had been saying people could start their business with their name and their social security number for 15 years before the pandemic hit. Then when the pandemic hit, guess what happened? They said you can apply as a self-employed business owner with your name and your social security number for all of the funding that became available through the PPP and the EIDL and so
Yes.
on and so forth. So start there. But then
Right.
once you get established and you've got your name out there and you're putting your information out and you're getting clients, you're getting customers, then you want to gravitate towards an LLC if you are in a business that poses a potential for risk. So, if you are in any kind of business where you could potentially be sued because you've given the wrong advice, or you could potentially be sued because of any kind of liability, then you want to separate yourself from the business by creating an LLC, a
Yeah.
limited liability company. And both of these forms of business, whether it be a sole proprietor using your name and your social security number, which anybody can start right now in this minute. Everybody can say, I am in business with your first name, your last name, the name that God gave you, the name that your parents gave you
Okay.
at birth is enough to start. And then you can get an EIN and a limited liability company to separate yourself from the business when you've got the funds to do so. So that's a
Right.
great point. I'm so glad you asked that question.
Yes, and to that point, because it's the 28th, and if there's so many benefits to having your own, your home-based business. If somebody wants to do that today, sole proprietorship, starting there, is it you still need your tax ID number, right? That EI employee identification number? No?
No, you can start with your name and your social security number. That's all
Really?
you need to report on Schedule 1 of your 1040. If you Google right now, Schedule
Uh-huh.
1 of your 1040, you don't need a CPA for that. You don't need a tax professional. At the top of the page, it asks for your name and your social security number. That's what it asks for. And then it says optional. If you have a business name, if you have a tax ID number, is either an EIN or a social security number. So if you then have an entity, an LLC, a sole proprietorship an LLC that functions as a sole proprietorship, then you can list your entity name and your EIN, but it's not required. No, you can use your name and your social security number.
That's new for me. I always
Mhm,
thought you had to have an EIN, that employee identification number. And so that is great advice. So if anybody
mhm,
can do that today and then look back on the year and look at, potential expenses
mhm.
that could be put against that. Yes? Or is that,
You can, if you've been running your life like a business. So I tell people run your life like a business
that's
because the
right.
IRS says that you can get tax deductions for the things that you are using in business. So yes, the minute you decide I am in business, yes, I am in business, and then you use that cell phone for business. Now that's a tax write-off. You go out to eat and you discuss your business. That meal is now a tax write-off. When you got in your car to go drive to the restaurant to discuss that meal, that drive to the restaurant is now a tax write-off. If you travel for business, when you book that airline ticket, when you park at the airport, when you pay for your baggage, when you check into the hotel, when you like all of this is now a tax write-off. That is if you are in business. So the first thing is to say, make the decision that yes, I am in business. This is in business. And some people have been in business and didn't really understand the rules. So if you go back and say, you know what, for the past 6 months, I've been promoting my whatever it is, my Lynn Richardson business. That's all you have to, my Lynn Richardson business,
Got it. Yep.
because the IRS says you can use your name, your birth given name that is on your social security card or your birth certificate, and your social security number. That's all you need to be able to document that you're functionally in business. And then all of your activity. I've been doing social media. I've been posting. I've been putting together information. I've been talking to people. I've been sending out text messages. Then
Yeah.
you are in the active business. You are actively engaged in marketing and promoting and sharing your business and your services. So then, yes, that laptop that you had to buy, that's now a tax write-off. A portion of your home that you use for business. Now,
Right.
this portion of your home is now making you entitled to not just write off the laptop and the equipment that's in that office, but you also now get to write off a proportion of your rent. So let's say that space that you use in your home for business, let's say, for example, it's 25% of the square footage of your home. Now you get to write off 25% of your rent or
Mm.
25% of your mortgage payment,
Wow.
25% of your landscaping, 25% of your light bill, 25% of your internet, 25% of your cable, 25% of your gas, 25% of your electricity, 25% of everything it takes for that home office to
Mm.
function in your home. So now I've just probably given you well over $10,000 in tax write-offs. Then the
Yes.
IRS says you can hire your children of any age. So if you're like me, I'm technically an empty nester, but I've
Of
got adult
any
children,
age, if they're
any age,
35.
any age. Okay. Because
Okay.
what can a 2-year-old do? A 2-year-old can model in your business. They can be on the images that go on your YouTube page, that go on your social
Mm.
media account, that go on and you create a contract between you and your child as a
Okay.
consultant or as an independent contractor. So everyone that you hire, you hire and you give them a contract, a job description, and a pay schedule. Now that's a tax write-off to you. And the first $14,200 is tax-free to your child. So instead of paying tuition directly, you pay your child to work in your home-based business. That's now a tax write-off. And then the money that they earn, they can now use to pay any of the things that you were going to buy anyway. So video games, books, clothing, shoes, tuition, all of those things. We've got to learn the rules of the game because let me tell you something. Everyone else has mastered it.
Yes.
And we do a lot of looking and complaining about what we say people are doing to us. But what I'm going to challenge everyone to
Mhm.
do is learn the lesson. Learn
Yes.
the lesson.
Yes.
See the strategy. Understand the pivot. Learn the laws. Learn the rules. And
Yeah.
learn the rules of the game and then play the game by the rules and
That,
get educated and do what's best for you and your family. Absolutely.
but that's learning the rules. And so people like you who know all these rules, the beautiful thing about you is you're trying so hard to teach everybody. And so I'm sitting here, you said this before in April about hiring your children. Every time you say it, it's still, I don't know why it hasn't sunk in for me. And I'm not, I'm just in awe at all the information that you just shared. And I didn't realize, again, the nuance between the LLC and the sole proprietorship. Anybody can do that. Everybody in this call today can go search what you said, go Google Schedule 1 of the 1040 and fill out that information. And then
Yeah,
that is a home-based business.
that's a home-based business. Yes. And
Just our
what
name,
people don't
Kelli Richardson.
realize Is they
Hmm.
people do it all the time. So when they decide to go, for example, they decide to go sell Mary Kay and they sign up on the website and they get their stuff. And then that income that they earn, they're reporting on Schedule 1 of their 1040 tax return. And it comes in their first name, their first name, their last name, and their social security number. That is technically a home-based business. You are an independent contractor. If you're getting a 1099 from anybody, you are an independent contractor. And that falls under the category of your home-based business. If you are a real estate salesperson, if you sign up for, there's so many companies selling so many things that they allow you to use their brand to go become a direct salesperson. All of that is a home-based business. Now, I want to
Yeah.
be very clear. This does not mean that you don't need to go get any kind of technical licensing. So if in your state you are required to get a license to sell insurance, then you still need that license, but you don't need an EIN. Very, very important distinction. In your state, if you need a license to sell real estate, and in every state you do, you still need to go get that license, but you don't need an EIN. You don't need an LLC. So you may have to go get training for your specific area, but it does not mean you need an LLC and an EIN. So you
That's
want to be able to
really
make that distinction and get in class to learn the difference between all of these different things. Because what happens when we don't understand, then we are disabled. When we
right.
don't understand, then we get paralyzed and then we get decision paralysis and we go back and forth and we listen to a whole lot of people who don't know what they're talking about. With all
That,
due respect, they don't know what they're talking about. And I have to say this again because I see we've had a couple dozen people join us since we first started talking. We want to make sure that we are not over analyzing and over explaining everything. People
right.
have been convincing people it's everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not meant to be. But do not confuse that with being a business owner. Because
That's
since the
right.
beginning of time, before there were telephones, people, before there were telephones,
Yeah.
before there were televisions, before there was radio, before there were cars, how about
Right.
that?
Yes. People
People
have been
were
doing this.
business owners from
That's
from the
so
beginning of time. Yes.
that's so deep. So I love that. So people can still do that today on December 28th. Legally. That's the thing.
Yes.
Everything we talk about is doing things legally and smartly to,
Yes.
protect ourselves and to also, help ourselves given what's happening in the world right now. So can we shift? I want to ask you about something you mentioned the last time you were here. You have something called the 10-10-30-50 rule. 10-10-30-50. Can you
Hmm.
share that again with us? And so as we start the year, we can plan properly.
Yes. So now is a great time. And this is the last weekend of 2025. We are
Yes,
saying goodbye. We are just ready. We're ready for the new season.
we are ready
Really,
for the
it's
new
not even
year.
about a new,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
about a new season, whatever that season is, whether it's the new year, the new month, the new day,
Uh-huh.
because we can always find a reason to be renewed, to be restored, to be revitalized, to be
Yeah.
reconnected, and to be empowered. Because this is that time of year, it is now a time to set your intention for what it is that you want for yourself. And
Uh-huh.
I saw something so interesting the other day, and it says, be careful about the story that you tell yourself because your nervous system adjusts to whatever you believe. Your
Interesting.
nervous system
Mhm.
responds to the story that you say to yourself.
Mhm.
So go into this next season saying that you are in order with your budget. The first 10% of every dollar you get, make the decision to tithe or give. For some people, that's giving. For me, that is tithing. I literally tithe to my church. For
Mhm.
some others that may say, well, I'm going to put some money aside for the foundation or for the nonprofit or
Mhm.
for the homeless or for family that may call and say, hey, I need some help. Well, if it's in your 10%, you can do it. So make the decision for that first 10%. When we make the decision to give, there's a sense, there's an aura of peace and an aura of order, an
Mhm.
aura of discipline that overcomes and overwhelms us. And it is not possible to give and miss receiving. Good givers are great getters. So when
That's
you make the
right.
decision especially when you don't know where it's coming from, to make giving your first priority, then you are already putting your nervous system, you're energetically placing yourself in position to receive. So the first
Okay.
10% you tithe, the next 10% save, no matter what. No matter what situation you're in, no matter what you're going through, take that next 10% and save. First, in a high yield savings account, because your regular savings account at your bank is only paying 1/4 of 1%, and a high yield savings account is probably paying 3 or 4%. When you've got at least 90 days saved in your emergency fund, then you want to take 10% and place it into a mutual fund or an ETF that outperforms the S&P 500. A mutual fund or an ETF that outperforms the S&P 500. Now you might be thinking, how am I going to know what that is? Well, go to your brokerage account. Open a free brokerage account at fidelity.com or Charles Schwab. Those are the only two I'm going to say. And my top choice is fidelity.com, because when all of the Robinhood and all of that stuff happened and they were short selling the market and all that stuff happened, every single brokerage on the planet shut down except Fidelity.
Hmm.
Fidelity is old school, old money, consistent, and stable investing. Okay. That was the
Hmm.
only one that did not shut down. Everybody else shut down, including E-Trade, Charles Schwab, all of them shut down. So Fidelity is my 100% all the time go to. Everyone in my family has a Fidelity account. My children, my husband, my siblings, people I work with and for, everybody has a Fidelity account. So if you go and open your free brokerage account at fidelity.com. And the other reason why I like Fidelity is because if when you are blessed and you've got lots of money, your FDIC insured cash account at Fidelity is insured more than the regular FDIC insured amount. At a regular bank, you're only insured up to the first 250,000. At Fidelity, I think it's a little bit over 1 million. So if you've got assets and you've got cash, then you've got a place to store it and it's safe. The other thing about a fidelity.com account is you can also set up a self-employed 401k, which I'm going to talk about. You can also set up a custodial account for any minors. So if you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, so it's this one-stop shop for everything. And you can
Hmm.
do your research. So you click on the research area. If you don't know where it is, go to the little search bubble and click research. It'll show you how to research. And you're going to pull up the S&P 500, and then you're
Hmm.
going to pull up any mutual fund. Just look up any mutual fund or any ETF. Look up the funds that are in your 401k at your job and compare it to the S&P 500 over the past 20 years. And you'll see a little graph. You'll see the S&P 500, maybe it's black. Then you'll see your fund, maybe it's green. Then you'll see another fund, maybe it's red, whatever you put in there. And whichever one is outperforming the S&P 500, that's the one you invest in. How much? It doesn't matter. $1 a week, $10 a week, $50 a week,
Hmm.
$100 a week, whatever it is. The key here is to be consistent and to
Hmm.
let that money grow over time. If you teach your children this, to invest $50 a month, in 30 years, they'll have $1.1 million. That's
Hmm.
just $50 a month, right?
Starting
So
at what age for the children?
in 30 years. So
And
at
just
any
whatever it
age.
is, in 30 years.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep. In 30 years, they'll have $1.1 million. So if you've got an infant at the age of 30, they'll have $1.1 million. If
Hmm.
you've got a 20-year-old at the age of 50, so if we live, we're going to keep aging anyway. So
Hmm.
whatever number that is, but let's say, what would you have in 10 years or 20 years? So it's worth it to continue to invest and to let money do what it does best. What
Yes.
money does best, people think it spends. Well, that's when you don't take care of it. But when
Right.
you take care of money, the thing that money does better than anything is it works harder for itself than you can ever work for it.
Hmm.
Money works harder for you than you can ever work for it. So the first 10% you tithe, the next 10% you save, the next 30% goes into another account. This is your discretionary spending account. This is for incidentals. This is for groceries, gas, hair, nails, the new iPhone, a massage, whatever. If it doesn't fit, get rid of it. It has to fit into here. And this is money that is isolated, separated from everything else, so you don't have a spending addiction. A spending addiction is what you have when you go to the grocery store for toothpaste, or you go online for one thing and you end up spending $277.47 worth of stuff you don't need. Talking about it was on sale. That wasn't even on sale for you,
Right.
right? You want
Right.
to keep it right there, separated. And for, I used to say cash, but you can't even use cash in some places right
That's
now
right.
because people don't even take cash. But you want that money separate. And you want to start to make sure you are spending your money on items that are going to increase in value as opposed to those that will decrease in value.
Mm,
Because we come from a history of not having. We've been taught when we get the opportunity to have it, we got to show the world we got it. And we do that with furniture and jewelry and clothing. And
mhm.
those things decrease in value over time. We want to
Okay.
start investing in real estate and stock and things that increase in value over time. So
That's
that's
right.
your 30%. And then your 50% stays in your checking account, your main account for your bills. Now, here's what happens when you look at that account. You either have more than enough money, and if you have more than enough money, that doesn't mean you just go start buying a whole bunch of stuff. Now you may need to reduce your debt, pay off your credit cards, because
Mhm.
the interest that you're paying on your credit cards could be money that's working for you instead of working for your bank. Do
Mhm.
you all know the biggest bank hack that is out there? It's the Starbucks card. When you go to Starbucks and if you want to buy your Starbucks through the app, you have to actually put money on the Starbucks card. Do
Right.
you understand that that's technically their bank without it being FDIC insured? Because if a million people put $30 on their Starbucks card, then Starbucks just got $30 million that they now get to go take and earn interest on, and you only spend $5 on your cup of coffee.
Mhm.
Right? Okay, so
Mhm.
start to think about where you can store money and have it earn interest. Start to think about that. Okay, so if you have more than enough money, perhaps you want to use some of that money to increase your investing. You want
Mhm.
to start a business. You want to plan for a trip
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
is a business trip. And when you discuss your business on your business trip and you get done discussing business, yes, you can still go to the beach. Yes, you can still go to the parks at Disney World. Yes, you can still do all those things that you would normally do on a vacation, but it's a business trip for you.
Right.
Okay. So you
Under
want to
that
think of
sole proprietorship
under that sole
that gets the
proprietorship.
name and social
Yeah,
security number. And so the social security number acts as your EIN in this
absolutely.
case until you decide you want to do an LLC. But what,
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's out of the
Mhm.
50%. That's out of that
That's under
50%.
your 50%. That's in your 50%. And if you don't have enough money, so you say, Lynn, I've got all these bills, I don't have enough money. Now you have to subtract because
Mm,
1 + 1 = 2. And if your stuff adds up to 10, it'll never ever fit into two. So now
mm,
we have to move out of people say, well, faith. Well, faith isn't going to change mathematics.
mm,
Okay. And
right.
faith without work is dead. So now you may have to eliminate some of your subscriptions. You may have to take your kids out of private school. You may have to rent out a room in your apartment or your house. You may have to decide to get rid of it or rent out the whole thing and go move in with a relative or your mom or your grandmother or something like that. You may have to eliminate some expenses. And
Mhm.
here's the one biggest mistake that people make. These hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have gotten laid off their jobs and they'd had 6 months of reserves or 9 months of savings. And then they keep living every day as if they didn't get laid off their job and they keep spending the same money on bills. No, that emergency fund needs to be treated like an emergency.
Right.
Use it as a last resort. Don't continue to keep paying the same bills. Start to cut your expenses immediately. Immediately start to cut your expenses so you can get to the next level and elongate and lengthen the time of that emergency fund. So if you've got a 9 month emergency fund, you need to be thinking about how can I make it stretch to be 18 months,
Mm-hmm.
27 months, because
Mm-hmm.
there's no guarantee that you're going to get that same job or that same kind of job paying the same kind of money because
Mm-hmm.
statistically chances are you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say this, let me be clear. If you have a job, keep your job. Keep your job, keep your 401k, keep your benefits. And if you don't have a job, if you've been let go of a job, then get a job by any legal, ethical, and moral means necessary. You maybe you used to be the vice president, but maybe now you have to start in a mid-manager position or even
Right.
perhaps an entry-level position. And don't think of it as starting over, think of it as starting better. Think of
Yeah,
it as pivoting and starting again and getting some consistent money coming in while you start and expand and operate in your home-based business.
that's right. That's the pivot principle.
Yeah.
And that's so true because yeah, that's so true. And I was about to say something, but I see Taj has her hand up. So good morning, Taj. You want to ask a question or share a thought? Feel free.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question. Happy holidays, Dr. Lynn. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. I've enjoyed my book, by the way.
Oh,
uh,
thank you.
I just wanted to ask a question because I sometimes, and I'm gonna be transparent, I'm a big planner and I like to put things in order, but sometimes when life happens, you get overwhelmed and you start losing track of everything. What is a all the things that you've talked about thus far, what is the best way to kind of be intentional about tracking throughout the year to help you not be so overwhelmed to wait when you wait to the end of the year to try to figure out all the things that you've done that you got to account for because of tax season.
So, one thing that you can do is if you have my master business and budgeting journal, it provides you, it comes in quarters. It's a quarterly journal. So, you can print it out and start tracking your expenses every single day, or hire one of your children or nieces or nephews or godchildren or someone that you have working for you, helping you in your business, have someone helping you to track those expenses every day. If you can't track them every day, then commit to doing it weekly. If you can't commit to it weekly, then commit to it monthly. But find a way to be consistent and to have a standard practice. So, one of my standard practices that people who know me know, they know when I go stand in line for anything, I always get a physical receipt.
Mm.
Always, 100% of the time. People who know me know if I go out to a restaurant, I always get a physical receipt. Because what happens is when you start having multiple different systems, now your mind has to think multiple different ways to go gather the information. Did I get a receipt in my text? Did the receipt go to my email? Was I too lazy or in a rush or not thinking and forgot to tell them to email it and print it? I always get a printed receipt to this day. I still get a printed receipt. So do what works for you, but just make sure that you're consistent with it all the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Where can people get your journal, the budget journal you just referenced? Where is that?
Go to askglenn.org. Go to askglenn.org, and if you request it, then my staff will send it out to you.
AskLynn.org.
Hmm.
And then you mentioned again hiring your children to help you with that. So what is the limit annually again? What is the amount of money that is the limit for how much you can pay your children as a
Well,
write-off?
well, there is no limit, so you can pay your children a lot. So
Okay.
let me start there. So there's no limit. However, the first $14,200 is not only a tax deduction to you, but it's tax free to your child. So it's tax free to your child. If you pay them more, and the number might have gone up because you might be listening to this after the new tax laws come out or the new tax code or the tax levels come out. So it might
Mhm.
be a little bit more than that. If you pay them more than that, now they can take the additional money and put into their IRA and into their retirement account. So they can still continue to write off money, but the first $14,200 is automatically tax free to them because that is the standard deduction for a single person. So don't limit yourself to the 14,200. Know that first 14,200 is tax free, but anything above and beyond that, you can now start to use other tax strategies to make that a tax write off as well.
That's phenomenal. And I'm smiling because when you said, yes, you can hire your child to do your advertising and be in the spots or be
Hmm.
on your social media or what have you. So it's really no age limit to be able to write off that payment for your child as long as it's through your home-based business.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Okay,
Hmm.
I got it. That's amazing. Okay, so let's shift to holiday spending and what people have done. some of us have done this holiday. How can people look at those expenses and are there ways people can look at their expenses or things that they did possibly over the holidays um, to do any sort of legitimate, legal, home-based business write-offs?
You go back through all of your expenses, and it might help to go through your bank statement and download everything. So you may have
Mhm.
to go through your Cash App, your Venmo, your PayPal, all of your bank statements, go online, download everything into an Excel or CSV spreadsheet if you can, and simply answer the question, yes or no. Is it a business expense or not? That's it. It's
And
not rocket
business
science.
entertainment, gifting for
Mhm.
potential clients, things of that sort would
There's
be.
over 400 tax deductions. And in my book, Get Your Money Back, Tax Deductions You Never Knew About, I go over and I explain in alphabetical order many of the common things that people spend money on to help you understand if it's a tax write-off or if it isn't. So let's just say, for example, you open the book and you go to M. I just got my makeup done. Makeup for me is always a tax write-off. Every
Mhm.
single time I get my makeup done, it's a tax write-off. Why? Because I'm getting my makeup done. I didn't get it done today because it was super early here.
Mhm. But you
But
still look
um,
fabulous, as always.
but on those times when I have to go on Good Morning America or do an appearance and I have to get my makeup done, yes, I'm getting my makeup to go on stage or to go into a production. And yes, that is a tax write-off. But if I get my makeup done to go,
Mhm.
to the party, no, that's not. If I get my makeup done to go to the red carpet where I am advertising my business, then yes. So you answer the question, yes or no, if it's a tax write-off or if it's not.
Mhm.
What I do for my clients is you get a pre-tax analysis. So I highly, 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 highly recommend that everyone get a pre-tax analysis at thrivetax.net. ThriveTax is my tax company that I created, 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
And Kelly, and I also believe in leveraging everybody's business that you know.
yes,
So
you do.
I went to Kelly's company to help me put together the advertising campaign. And
Mhm.
one of the things we do is we help everyday people, single moms, single dads, married couples, individuals who have their sole proprietor, understand what can I do differently based on how I'm spending my money every single day, every single month, every single year. What could potentially be a tax write-off and what is not. So I think
Mhm.
that pre-tax analysis is maybe, I don't know if it's a couple $100s, but for many people, it ends up saving them tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. And I
Mhm.
have someone who is present on this call right now who told me she talked to me for 15 or 20 minutes and she clicked one button in her tax return and it saved she and her family over $10,000 in their taxes. So this is
Amazing.
real. It is legitimate. It is truthful and it is honest. So I always tell
That's
people to
right.
start there with what is honest and what is the truth and then go from there.
100%, because
Mhm.
honesty and truthfulness is critical. None of us want to get in any trouble. And all of these things over the 400 plus tax, hacks and things that are in your books and your information are legitimate. And we just don't know
Mhm.
about them. Most of us are not
Mhm.
trained or taught these things
Mhm.
up until now with you. And I'm grateful
Yes.
for you. You
Yes.
mentioned one thing that I wanted to add. I see Dee's hand up. But you mentioned your book, Get Your Money Back. Are those
Mhm.
downloadable digital tools by chance, or
No.
are they
Get Yeah,
books?
get your money back and let me explain why. So Get Your Money Back is a book, but it's also a workbook. So it's designed for you
Okay.
to go through the book and actually write because let me explain something to everybody. There are some things that are fast and it's okay, but there are some things that we all need to slow down. Because the reason why we're overwhelmed with too many things coming in is because we can't manage some of it. And the human body, remember I said early, since the beginning of time, humans have been in the business of being able to make money with our own business, with our own talents, with our own skills. But we're also the same functioning body. We process more information today than the humans did 200 years ago. We process more information in one day than they did in 2 years. What do you think that does to the mind? What do you think that does to your nervous system? What do you think that does to your psyche? It makes things spin out of control. So when you are starting to master money, something that you've never mastered, you've actually got to slow down. Open the book, write on the lines that are on
Mhm.
the pages. Stop and think while you're taking the class, because when you get the book, you also get the 3 hour class with my mentor, Sandy Bakken, who used to be an IRS tax attorney. He used to train all the tax people on how to go out, the auditors, how to go out and get people. And he stopped that about 35, 40 years ago. Now I think he's almost in his 90s. He's my personal tax mentor. He taught me everything that I know. It's been
Wow.
almost 20 years now. I met him in 2007. And when I met him
Awesome.
and learned what he was teaching, it literally changed my life. I had 3 kids who had
Yeah.
been working in my business, and I didn't know that I could get a tax write off for what I was paying each one of them because I had been paying them. I just didn't know. So when you get the book,
Mm.
you open it and you go through it and you write and you pull things and you print things and you save them and you document them and you learn and you take notes, because you cannot get a college degree without understanding the alphabet. And for many of us, we have to now go back to the beginning. We have to learn the alphabet of money, the
Mhm.
alphabet of taxes in
That's
order to
right.
get to the next level.
That's right. I so love that. Okay, so we need to order your books. Okay, askglenn.org, correct? Ask Glenn.
Yes.
Okay. So Dr. D, I see your hand up. Did you have a question or a thought, comment?
Sure, I will only come off mute for Dr. Lynn. Um, the the person that she was talking about is me, but the one thing that she's wrong about is she saved me $30,000, not $10,000 from our
Wow.
conversation. Yeah, I mean, and she's right. We were on the phone like for maybe 15 minutes, and she asked me to fill out a different form, and literally we clicked on the tab and it went from us owing like $30,000 to getting $8,000 back. And that was,
Mm,
me not even claiming everything. Like I just listening to Lynn, that was just my bank account. Like I didn't go through Uber, Cash App, like all the things that she's saying now. So this year I definitely will do that, but just wanted to give some, not that Dr. Lynn needs credit, but that was me
that's
last
awesome.
year. And since then, I did hire Nicholas, my youngest son, because that's something that she did talk about in April, hiring your kids. And I did hire him to do a handful of tasks because he was asking for, now I see like large sums of money for legitimate things that he needed. He's working on growing his brand and his business. And, I've always thought it was great. So if he needs money to order more product or more thing, I was just always transferring money to his account. Um,
Mm,
but but this summer, I just, it clicked and I was like, you know what? I will hire him under my consulting company to do some tasks and give him the money. And that's what I did. Like we created a job description, but just all the things that Lynn said. So I'm interested to see how that's going to shape up at the end of the year. So, but I just wanted to correct Dr.
love
Lynn, who
that.
never needs correcting. She saved me 30,000, not 10,000.
It's
Thank you, Dr.
Wow.
amazing.
Lynn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well,
amazing.
thank you for that. Because my first year after I listened to Sandy Bakken, and I just followed the instructions. I didn't overthink. I didn't overanalyze. I didn't get paralysis analysis, analysis paralysis and do nothing, because that's what happens to us as well. I simply followed the instructions. And that year for me, it was $60,000. I could not, I was like, and then I added up all the money that I spent for the
Mhm.
years that I didn't know. And I just like, okay, wait a minute. I'm not going to just, kill myself.
Mhm. Right,
I'm just
right.
going to do better today. Because it literally makes you just want to, jump off a building or something when you think about
Exactly.
how much you didn't know for all the years you didn't know it. But that doesn't have to be us today. We can literally lock arms. I really believe if each one teaches one. So as we think about the SonRise Project and what it's all about, and it is about holistic internal wellness and acceptance. It's
Mm,
about acceptance. It's about joy. It is
mm,
about peace. That's what it's also about. It's about peace, and it is about love and sharing, extending that love, and it's about forgiveness and all of these things. The things that we do to ourselves, the things that we do to others, the things that we did not know, and coming to the information about what we do know. This is a coming of age for all of us. It's a pivot for all of us. And
yeah.
I'm so grateful, so grateful to have this time with you, Kelli, and with everyone for the SonRise Project and for this information to just keep going and getting out because it's real and it's needed and it's making a difference.
Yes, and I'm grateful for you equally, if more. I can't believe we've been on the phone almost an hour. I want to ask a few final thoughts. It's
Mhm.
the 28th, and I know it'll be, it'll be 2026 when some people listen to this. But what are things families can do, we can do today, like right now, immediately, as we get ready to close the year, to prepare for next year's tax season?
Um, Excellent question. So to get ready for next year's tax season, number one, I would say get some help. Really is what I would say. I would say get some help, and whether that help be physically through the help of you know gathering some people who maybe there's someone in your organization membership who could use a little extra money, and you've got money to pay someone. Or if there's a child or niece or nephew or someone, get some help to get organized, right? Because in many cases it's the getting and pulling it all together that literally can overwhelm us and shut us down because we feel like there's so much. So we've got to go back and gather all this stuff, but then we also have to deal with Monday morning is showing up tomorrow. And it comes with its own deadlines and so on and so forth. So where do we catch up? So I would say start off getting help. And if
Yeah.
that's getting help from someone or going to askglenn.org and
Yeah.
maybe joining one of the coaching programs. There are coaching programs for $10 a month.
Mm,
So anybody can start at any level, and or getting connected with a group of people to say, hey, we're going to do this together. So I would say number one, get help. Number two,
and
I
just
would
can I
say,
pause you for a second, just real quick,
mhm,
just for people. You are saying, because I want to be clear, you do offer wonderful coaching at asklyn.org, and you mentioned thrivetax.net.
yes.
So both of those are great resources, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. There's an entire tax team ready and willing to help you when you go to thrivetax.net. If you fill out that inquiry, you will get an immediate response with options and next steps, and very likely a phone call within 24 to 48 hours if you request one. So,
Okay.
yes, you can go there. Number two is to write what it is that you want. So, and the reason why I say make the decision to get help first is because oftentimes, and again, we come from a history of doing it on our own and not asking for help, but that season is over with. So go on and ask for help, especially for those of you who are givers. Many people who are givers rarely ask for help, which is
Mm,
really an oxymoron. So what we do is we withhold from the universe and we really don't give anyway, because who are we to withhold the right from others to help us the way we help them? So when
mm,
we ask for help, we're really yielding and we're pouring in to the energy of help that enables us to help in the first place. So you have to think about that to really get it. In order to when I really became a help when I started receiving help.
yeah.
End of story. Number one, help. Number two,
Mm.
write your thoughts. Thoughts disentangle themselves when they pass through your fingertips. I'm going to tell you,
Say that again.
yes,
Say that again.
thoughts disentangle themselves when they pass through your fingertips. You
Mm,
must write. Look at these fingers. You must
mhm,
use your fingers and you must get pen, paper. I'm going to
mhm,
take myself off of blur so you can actually see my background here. Well, so you can see, wait a minute, I didn't mean to take myself off here. Um,
and they pass through your fingertips. I do believe in writing and
I,
journaling.
I have a
Really, when
journal
people
everywhere
say,
I go and
mm,
something to write with and on.
mm,
Everywhere I go. This
Mhm.
is going to be the game changer. When
Yes.
you look, and it's only going to take about 3 years for people's minds to be completely zapped
Mhm.
because AI and Chat GPT is thinking for you and doing everything, and people are going to lose their critical thinking skills. And
Yeah.
right now we have children who are in second grade and third grade who cannot write. I'm talking, it hurts their hand. So you
Mhm.
want your children to be empowered, have them write their timetables and their addition 10 times each, so that
Mhm.
their hand literally has the physical muscular function to actually be able to write. So thoughts
Mhm.
disentangle themselves when they pass through your fingertips. You give God time to come through your head, through your fingertips, to process the vision that He has for you. And the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. It doesn't say Chat GPT the vision. It doesn't say Instagram the vision. It says write the vision and make it plain. So write what you want to
Mhm.
see for yourself. Write the number of income streams. One stream of income is hazardous to your wealth anyway. Nobody should have one stream of income, only one way to make money. And now, not even a good federal government job is reliable. Okay. So, write the vision that you see for yourself. So, number one was to get help. Two was to write the vision that you see for yourself. And number three is to get up. Every time you fall down, get up. You
Mhm.
literally cannot fail until you quit. You can't fail until you quit.
Yes.
And don't quit before you quit. Some
Yes.
some of us quit on ourselves before we even get started. Oh,
That's
I can't
right.
do that. Stop saying that to yourself.
That's right.
Oh, I can't never. What? Stop. Don't quit before you quit.
That's right. I
Don't
love
quit before
that.
you start.
That's right.
Give
It's good.
yourself the
Mhm.
opportunity. And the day that you feel like quitting, cry and say it. The day that you feel like quitting, and everybody knows I'm the cussing preacher, cuss if you need to. Go hang out, lay out, go get yourself a
Yeah.
brownie, a
Yeah.
taco, some
Yeah.
pizza, but get up the next day.
That's right.
Do it again. So
Yeah.
so that's those are
And
my
joy comes in the morning, right? It always comes in the morning.
joy. Weeping man, do it for a night, but joy comes in the morning.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Oh my goodness. I wish we had another hour or two or three, and I'm gonna get all the advice I'm asking. You know, what's so amazing, Dr. Lynn, you've been here 3 times this year, and each time you've given us so many gems and, tips of the 400 tax tips that you have in one of your books.
Hmm.
You've given us so many more this morning. So I appreciate you so much. And I just put in the chat, I never ask for help. I really, really don't. And so the SonRise Project is a labor of pure love with Dr. D and with you and Dr. Vicky. And so I put a note to say we would love donations of any kind because it's a nonprofit and we do it all out of our hearts because we love doing it. We want to help people, including ourselves. So if anyone is interested in that first 10%, the tithing or giving, feel free. We have a little donate button at the top and would love support. That would be amazing because this is all volunteers. Dr. Lynn is here as a volunteer out of her, just the goodness of her heart at 5 o'clock in the morning out in LA or 6 o'clock in the morning. And so I put that in there because of you saying ask for help and I appreciate that advice. So thank you for being here. I really love you and appreciate you. And
Thank you for having me, and I'm more than happy to come back at
I
any
love
any
that. We
any
will
time.
absolutely have you back. And just a last reminder, asklynn.org
Hmm.
and thrivetax.net. And she has courses and downloadable guides and toolkits and books, workbooks, all kinds of amazing information. But thank you
Hmm.
so much. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Vicky, who will close us out in a prayer this morning.
Hey, Dr. Lynn. So good. So
Hello,
good.
my sister.
So good. Oh my goodness. I'm over here screaming, throwing shoes and everything. Like if we were in church, I would be throwing my shoe up at you if you were speaking. This was amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for an amazing year. Thank you, Dee, for an amazing year. God, we thank you for this day that you have made. And we choose to rejoice and give you glory. Thank you because wisdom is the principal thing. But your instruction says in all of our getting to get understanding. So thank you for understanding today. Thank you for insight. thank you for bringing us through this year to this moment in time. We are grateful for every deposit that has fallen into good ground that will produce good fruit in each of our lives. We thank you for every household represented, every mother, every father, God, every child that we show up for every week. God, we just thank you for the work of the SonRise Project. Thank you for Kelli and her vision. Thank you for Dee and her commitment. We thank you for every speaker that has been on the call this year. We are just grateful. In everything, we give thanks because we know that you have ordered our steps to this community. Now, bless us as we go into the rest of this day, the rest of this year, and bring us back again in 2026 to continue to be encouraged, empowered, and inspired. We give you glory for all of these things. In your name we pray. Amen. And so it is. Thank you so much, Dr. Lynn. Thank you, Kelli. Thank you, Dee. This
Thank
has
you.
just been amazing.
Thank you, Dr. Vicky, for being here every week and for blessing us with those incredible closing prayers and closing words. So thanks to everybody. It has been an incredible year, and we will be back next Sunday with Dr. Linda for our monthly open session. So have a wonderful new year, beautiful rest of your day. Thank you, everybody, and especially Dr. Lynn. Thank you.
Happy New Year. Happy New
Yeah.
Year. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year. Take care. Bye.